like we feel the same. We love what we hate. We lie, but we know we can't water what doesn't grow. Give up, let it go. But we fell apart.
Hey everybody, it is Wood here. I know I'm intimidating, I'm unapproachable, and I'm downright scary. Fear me. Just kidding. I like to believe that I am none of those things, that I'm simply just another person trying to get by and leave a good impression along the way. So hey everyone, welcome to Mental Policing.
At least it was worth a try. I drive from your place. Miss your lips, but I hate the taste. No fun in this game.
So what are you afraid of? Do you have an irrational fear? Maybe it's snakes, clowns, or even spiders. Maybe you can't sleep with an arm or a leg hanging over the bed because you're afraid of what's underneath, what might grab you. Perhaps it's heights or even drowning. Well, whatever your fear is, can you overcome it? Is it possible? Can you use your fear for good? Here's something that might be a little bit controversial. Fear is good. That's right. Fear can be a good thing, as long as it stays within the realm of rational, and you don't claim to be afraid of clowns, and now you have fake panic attacks whenever you see a clown shirt or a clown walk by or a clown sucker or something. That's nonsense. But since everyone loves a story, let me tell you about a time when I was afraid. And no, I'm not going to tell you that I was afraid of having kids from the first to the last, because that would be silly, even though it's true. Instead, you get a police story. This wasn't too long ago. I got dispatched to a domestic/suicidal/unknown problem. And most of you are nodding your head saying, yes, this is a typical 911 call. So while I'm en route, I'm told that the man has a gun and that he's threatening people with it and he's refusing to leave his parents' house and they're still inside. So I'm on my way there and 2 additional officers arrive with me. And as we walk up to the house, there's a lot of commotion. The family of this man is in and out of the house and they tell us he still has the gun. And we can see him walk back and forth in front of the big bay window that's there. Though we can't see the gun, we're going to take his word for it. Or we're going to take their word for it, rather. They're looking at us to go in and get him, bring him out, make everyone safe, and make it all happy and better. Those aren't good circumstances, and those aren't good odds. So I stood in the front yard, tucked behind a tree that might have hid my right arm. And I'm praying that this man doesn't get a wild idea and start shooting or taking hostages. And all this going on, his family's standing there, watching us, waiting. What are you going to do? So to quote Eminem, his palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. There's vomit on his sweater already, mom's spaghetti. He's nervous, but on the surface, he looks calm and ready. Yes. This is exactly how I felt. Minus the vomit, of course, because that's unprofessional. So I rode that wave of adrenaline. I used that fear to focus, to be sharp, to make decisions when everyone was looking at me. I took a deep breath, and I walked further into the open, and I called out to that man. I yelled with an authority as though he was my child that I had just caught coloring on the walls. I demanded action from him, and I demanded it now. And the others that I was with knew it was go time. They fell right in next to me. They were right by my sides. We were ready. Come what may, we were terrified, but we were ready. Lucky for us, and I like to think it was because of my dad voice, the fear transformed into strength, and he came out. He was unarmed, and he stopped causing problems. He quit. But we didn't. After this encounter, my buttocks began to shake uncontrollably. They were twitching more than they were shaking, and I couldn't write down my own name if I had to because my hands were shaking. This was the adrenaline dump. I felt this time and time again. I know what it is, and I know that it will pass. But if I'm feeling that, then I know that I have walked away alive, unscathed, and I'm doing okay. So I'll take 3 minutes of uncontrollable shakes anytime. Now, this might not sound like the scariest story. And, hindsight, you're probably right. But in the moment, it was one of the most terrifying stories or calls I've been on. Funny thing, that fear is, I say I don't get nervous when I speak in front of large crowds or when I'm on a podcast or if I have to be in charge of people. But I always have that shot of fear adrenaline that helps me get through it. It's something that many won't admit they feel, and I don't understand. Were you scared? Nah, not me. I ain't scared of nothing. Well, that's bullshit. You are scared. You were too. Why are we so afraid to admit we're afraid? That's weird. If you or the guy next to you claims they're never scared or they're never afraid of any type of collar situation, then they are either 1, lying, or number 2, reckless. We don't want either of those in this job. When confronted by someone bigger than me, I get nervous. I get scared. I have a sense of fear, but I use it. I use it to strengthen myself and to be sharper. Fear can do many things for you. Here are 3 things that they can do. They can keep you alert and vigilant. Your body releases adrenaline, which gets you prepared and ready to act. It also releases norepinephrine. This hormone helps you stay focused. So when you get scared, you are both alert and focused. Fear keeps your body in check. Your body will release cortisol, which helps your body regulate. Too much of it could be a bad thing, but in these circumstances, when you need it, you need it. Cortisol is that hormone that gives you the nervous poops, you know what I'm talking about? Before a big game or a big test or before you go to court. It helps your body regulate, pushes out the bad. So the next time you sit down in front of a suspect and they get nervous gases going, there might just be a reason behind it, guys. Fear keeps you moving forward. Yes, the fight or the flight. I hope you have the fight in you. But even the simple things. Fear that my boss will think poorly of me if I don't get my report done on time. Or fear of sitting in front of a judge and a jury thinking that my investigation and my reports aren't top notch. This fear will push you forward. It helps you get tasks completed, and it helps you stay on top of it. So we need to embrace our fears. We need to admit that we can be afraid. If you're listening or someone you know tells you that all this is a bunch of BS, set them up and scare them one time. I don't mean dangerously, but scare them. And I bet they react pretty quick. I bet their senses are a little bit more keen to what's going on around them. And then maybe they'll admit that fear can be a good thing. On the flip side of this, if you're so afraid you can't do this job, or you can't go on calls or take action on those calls, find a new career. There is no shame in leaving before being shamed into leaving. And I've said this many times on this podcast that we need each other. We need each other to have our minds right and do the right thing. We also need each other to act. Not just react, but act. Jump in and take action, get the job done. Some of us have been in very scary situations, and we've needed that backup officer. And that backup officer fails to take action. They've proven time and time again that they can't do it. This is dangerous and needs to be remedied. If it can't be, then it's time to rethink the career for them. I know policing has changed over the years, and this podcast is proof of that. In fact, 20, 30 years ago, I probably wouldn't be sitting here doing this. However, we are still looked on every single day to take action and do what's needed when it's needed. We are expected to channel that fear and do the right thing. So I'll wrap this up and tell you a little bit about how I deal with my fears. I what if them over and over and over. I talk through strange scenarios over and over. For example, when I go out on a run and it's just me and I'm out there running, I think, what if a car crashes in front of me? Or what if I run by a bank and it's getting robbed? Or what if somebody is over in the bushes getting raped or beaten up or something, murdered even? I play these through in my head, and what would I do? What if? I remember what it was like when I was young, when I lost a fight, or had somebody take something from me that I had no control over. I use those experiences, and then I couple those with the experiences where I've won in those same scenarios, and I replay them. Then I add those to my what ifs. I remind myself that I will win, that I will be ready, and that I can do this job. I police my mind. Make your mindset a winning one, and the next time you are afraid, channel that energy, channel the adrenaline, cortisol, the norepinephrine, and do the right thing and take action. So guys, this is Wood. This is mental policing, and I had better see you safe and sound on the next one.
We touch, we break, make it seem like we feel the same. We love what we hate. We lie, but we know we can't water what doesn't grow. Give up, let it go. But we fell apart.